When others judge you, keep working hard. While they make fun of you, put in even more effort. When they're sleeping, you should be studying. When they talk badly about you, keep on working. In a few years, they'll compare their lives to yours and realize you're miles ahead. Focus on yourself because there's always going to be noise and people trying to bring you down. Ignore the haters and let your success speak for itself. The best way to silence them is through your actions and achievements.
You ever notice something? It's never strangers who slow you down. Never the haters you never met. Never the critics from a distance. No, it's the people closest to you. The ones with the front row seat to your life. The ones you trust. The ones you laugh with. The ones you grew up with. They don't have to attack you to stop you. They just have to not believe in you. And that silence, that doubt, that little smirk when you share your dream, it does more damage than a punch to the face. Everybody keeps asking, why am I stuck? Why am I not winning? Why does life feel so heavy? Because you're fighting the wrong battles. You're fighting fear. You're fighting procrastination. You're fighting insecurity. But you're not fighting the biggest enemy of all. Comfortable people, comfortable conversations, comfortable friendships. People who have no hunger will always make your hunger feel dramatic. People who stop dreaming will always treat your dreams like a joke. People who settled will always try to convince you that settling is wise. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes the worst thing for your destiny is the people who know your history, because they only see who you were, not who you're becoming. They only remember your mistakes, not your potential. They only understand your past, not your calling. And if you stay in that environment long enough, you begin to shrink. You begin to dim. You begin to act small so nobody feels uncomfortable. You stop speaking big. You stop dreaming big. You stop wanting big because the room you're in can't handle big. Let me tell you something raw, something real. You're not stuck because you're unworthy. You're stuck because you're surrounded by people who clap for your comfort but fall quiet when you talk about growth. Surrounded by people who love the old you but can't digest the new you. Surrounded by people who should have been temporary, but you made them permanent. This is the part where life demands honesty, where God taps your shoulder and says, look around. Not everyone in your circle deserves access to your future. You don't lose friends when you level up. You reveal who was never growing with you. And if you don't make that separation, if you don't make that shift, if you don't clean that circle, your destiny will suffocate in rooms that were too small to hold it. You ever tried to run with a backpack full of rocks? That's what it feels like to chase destiny while dragging the wrong people with you. Not bad people, not evil people, just the wrong people for where you're going. See, the danger isn't in the enemies who openly oppose you. It's in the friends who quietly slow you down. The ones who don't sabotage you, they just don't support you. The ones who don't discourage you, they just don't believe in you. And the worst part? They don't even know they're doing it. Because they're not trying to stop your growth. They're trying to protect your comfort. They're not trying to dim your fire. They're trying to keep you warm. They're not against your success. They're just intimidated by your hunger. They don't say, you can't do it. No, that would be too obvious. They say, are you sure? That seems risky. You're doing too much. Why can't you just relax? Why don't you just enjoy life a little? They dress doubt in concern. They dress fear in care. They dress limitation in love. And if you're not careful, you start wearing their words like truth, because familiarity is powerful. When someone who knows your past comments on your future, it hits different. It cuts deeper. It lands heavier. But here's the truth you've got to swallow. People can love you deeply and still limit you unconsciously, not because they're bad, but because your growth confronts their stagnation. Your ambition exposes their excuses. Your hunger reminds them of the dreams they gave up on. Your calling pressures the comfort they refuse to leave. So instead of rising with you, they try to pull you back down into the life they're comfortable with. And you stay stuck because you don't want to outgrow them. You don't want to upset them. You don't want to make them uncomfortable. You call it loyalty, but it's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of losing approval. Fear of leaving the familiar. Let me tell you something heavy. Some friendships were only meant for who you were, not who you're becoming. And if you keep choosing history over destiny, You'll repeat the same year over and over until it becomes your life. God didn't call you to carry everyone. He called you to become someone, and becoming someone requires separation. Not cruelty, not arrogance, not cutting people off just to prove a point. Separation of direction, separation of priorities, separation of habits, separation of mindset. Because you can't fly with people who are committed to crawling. You can't grow with people who worship comfort. You can't evolve with people who fear change. Your circle is either a tailwind or a headwind. And many people are stuck not because they're incapable, but because their circle is blowing against their destiny. The wrong people don't ruin your life instantly. They do it subtly, gradually, quietly, one conversation at a time, one weekend at a time, one compromise at a time, until the day you wake up and wonder, why am I still here? Why hasn't anything changed? Because elevation requires isolation, and you've been trying to take passengers on a flight that was meant for one. There comes a season in life when growth doesn't ask politely. It doesn't knock. It doesn't wait. It smacks you in the chest and says, it's time to leave some people behind. And you hate that season at first. You fight it. You try to convince yourself it's unfair. You cling to history. You cling to memories. You cling to the people who were once everything, but are no longer enough. Let me tell you something. This season is not cruel. It's necessary. It's the fire that refines. It's the pressure that awakens. It's the breaking before the building, the pruning before the blossoming. You see, life has a way of separating the wheat from the chaff, not to punish you, but to prepare you. The friends who are meant to stay will grow alongside you. The friends who are not meant to stay will resist, complain, and question every step you take toward elevation. Some of you are holding on to people who are not meant for your level. And every time you try to rise, their doubt, their hesitation, their fear pulls at you like gravity you can't see. This is where the breaking happens. This is the test. Because God, destiny, life, whatever you call it, will allow you to feel the weight of separation before giving you the wings to fly. You feel lonely. You feel misunderstood. You feel the absence of voices you thought you needed. You feel the silence where laughter used to live. But let me tell you the secret. That silence is a signal. That absence is a blessing in disguise. That emptiness is the space where your purpose grows. It is in this season that you finally learn. You don't need everybody to agree with your calling. You don't need approval to advance. You don't need constant reassurance to rise. You need alignment. You need vision. You need courage. You need people who match your frequency, not just your past. And when you finally step into that truth, when you finally embrace the pain of separation, when you finally accept that some friendships were meant to be temporary, you begin to rise in ways that would have been impossible if you had clung to comfort. Because breaking is not the end. Breaking is the beginning. Breaking is the clearing of the path for the greatness that was always meant to find you. And then it happens. The shift. The moment when the weight lifts just enough for you to see clearly. You stop begging for approval. You stop seeking permission. You stop asking everyone to understand your vision. And suddenly, clarity hits. You realize the very thing that felt like loss was actually liberation. The people you thought you couldn't live without, they weren't meant to walk into your future. They were meant to make you uncomfortable enough to grow. You begin to see the patterns. You begin to understand the invisible chains. You begin to recognize the conversations that suck life out of your purpose. You begin to feel the energy that lifts you higher. Your eyes open to this truth. Your environment shapes your destiny. Your circle can either accelerate you or anchor you. The people you spend the most time with are either fuel or fire. And when you finally detach from the wrong company, when you finally let go of voices that doubt you, discourage you, or simply stagnate, you discover freedom. Freedom is quiet. Freedom is weightless. Freedom is powerful. Freedom feels like air rushing into lungs that have been starved for purpose. And in that freedom, you begin to operate differently. You speak differently. You move differently. You dream differently. The space you once feared, the silence, the absence, the loneliness, becomes your greatest ally. Because now you are no longer shrinking to make someone else comfortable. You are no longer apologizing for ambition. You are no longer waiting for permission to rise. You are aligned. You are focused. You are free. And freedom, my friend, is where destiny starts moving. Now listen carefully, because this is the part where the fire either ignites or dies. You cannot win while carrying people who are afraid of winning. You cannot grow while dragging along those who have made peace with mediocrity. You cannot rise when your circle is content to stay in the shallow end while your destiny is deep water. It is time to stop making excuses. It is time to stop fearing loss. It is time to stop shrinking for the comfort of others. Because here is the raw truth. Some people were never meant to witness your greatness. Some friendships were temporary lessons, not lifelong assignments. Some relationships are a chain disguised as love. And if you have the courage to act, to prune, to detach, to realign, your life begins to shift immediately. Your energy multiplies. Your vision sharpens. Your steps gain momentum. The doors that were invisible become visible. The opportunities that were silent start knocking. The breakthroughs that were delayed begin to arrive. This is your moment. This is your decision. This is the line in the sand. Cut the dead weight. Release the anchors. Walk into the space where your fire can burn freely. Because you were never the problem. Your circle was, and the moment you change your circle, you change your life. So rise, elevate, break free, and never look back. The world will not bend for you. Destiny will not wait for you. Your time is now. Step into it. Step up. And let your greatness be unstoppable.